Chosen one, why does your soul feel restless tonight? Why can't you shake the feeling that something massive is about to shift in your life? Why did your spirit draw you to this exact message at this exact moment when millions of videos exist online? Chosen one, listen carefully. If this message found you today, it is not by chance, it is by divine design. God Himself has a message for you about Thursday. Don't leave your house. What I'm about to reveal will sound impossible to your natural mind, but your spirit already knows it's true. Thursday isn't just another day on your calendar. It's a divine checkpoint that will determine whether you step into your greatest breakthrough or miss the appointment heaven has been orchestrating for decades. You've been carrying a weight lately, haven't you? That unexplained heaviness in your chest, those 3 a.m. awakenings when your heart pounds for no reason, that sense that time is running out and you're still waiting for God to move. What if I told you all of that restlessness was heaven's early warning system preparing you for Thursday? Right now, before we go one word deeper, I need you to do 3 things that will activate heaven's attention over your life. Hit that like button. It signals to the spiritual realm that you're ready to receive what God wants to download. Comment 777 below this number creates a frequency of divine protection around your Thursday. And stay with me until the very end, because your obedience in this very moment determines whether you'll be positioned for Thursday's miracle or standing outside when heaven's door opens. Just like Noah heard the whisper before the floodwaters came, you're hearing the whisper before Thursday dawns. And what God is about to release on that day will either find you prepared and positioned or scattered and distracted. Before we dive deeper into what the Almighty has revealed about your Thursday, I want to pause and thank every single one of you who has supported this message through super thanks. Your generosity means more than you know. You're not just donating, you're helping spread light to others who feel alone in their calling. Whether you give or not, I'm deeply grateful for your presence here. Your support, your time, your attention, it all matters. And if this message resonates with your soul, go ahead and let the Holy Spirit lead your heart. But understand this, what you are about to hear could alter your Thursday forever. The enemy has been working overtime to keep you from receiving this word, because he knows that when God's chosen ones align with divine timing, kingdoms shift and destinies accelerate. Thursday is coming. Heaven is watching. And your response to what I'm about to reveal will echo through eternity. Are you ready to discover why God doesn't want you leaving your house on Thursday? Because, beloved, your breakthrough has a specific address, and it's exactly where you are. Stay close. Stay still. Your sacred appointment is about to be revealed. Have you been lying awake at night wondering why every door seems to slam shut just when breakthrough feels within reach? Have you been questioning why your prayers feel like they're bouncing off the ceiling, while others around you seem to walk effortlessly into their blessings? Have you been carrying this unexplained weight in your chest, this knowing that something monumental is about to shift, but you can't put your finger on what? Dear chosen one, what you've been feeling isn't anxiety, it's anticipation. Heaven has been sending you early warning signals because Thursday, this coming Thursday, is not just another day on your calendar. It's a divine appointment that's been scheduled in eternity's courtroom, and your very soul has been summoned to appear. But here's what's going to shock you to your core. God isn't calling you to go anywhere. He's calling you to stay exactly where you are. Your home, that ordinary place where you've been struggling, praying and waiting, is about to be transformed into holy ground. Your living room is about to become a sanctuary. Your bedroom is about to become the upper room of Acts where heaven breaks open and the impossible becomes inevitable. You see, most people think they need to chase their breakthrough. They believe they must travel to the mountain, find the prophet, or position themselves in the right place at the right time. But God is about to flip that script entirely. He's coming to you. The Creator of the universe has your address, and Thursday is His delivery date. Listen to what the Almighty spoke to Moses at the Red Sea, when 2 million terrified Israelites were trapped between Pharaoh's army and certain death. Exodus 14:13 records these life-altering words. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Not run, not fight, not strategize. Stand still. Do you understand what God is saying to you right now? He's not asking you to move, He's asking you to be still. Because while you've been restless, wrestling, and wearing yourself out trying to make things happen, heaven has been orchestrating a supernatural intervention that requires your complete stillness to manifest. But I need to address the fear that's gripping your heart right now. You're thinking, what if I miss something important? What if this is the day I was supposed to act? What if staying home means I'm being passive when I should be pursuing? Stop right there. This isn't punishment, beloved. This is protection. God isn't restricting you, He's redirecting you. He's not limiting your movement, He's aligning your spirit. Because what He's about to release over your life on Thursday is so powerful, so precisely timed, so specifically calibrated to your circumstances, that being even one step out of position could cause you to miss the very miracle you've been crying out for. Think about the 10 virgins in Matthew 25. 5 were ready when the bridegroom arrived. 5 were not. The difference wasn't their faith or their intentions. The difference was their positioning. When the moment came, only those who were exactly where they needed to be could enter the wedding feast. Right now, I need you to do something that's going to activate heaven's attention over your Thursday. In the comments below, declare these 4 words. I will be still. Don't just think it. Type it. Because your obedience in this small act is preparing your spirit for the massive obedience Thursday will require. But let me tell you why this specific Thursday carries such prophetic weight. In the spiritual realm, certain days become pregnant with possibility. They become windows when the veil between heaven and earth grows thin, when angels are dispatched with specific assignments, when breakthrough that's been building in the invisible realm suddenly manifests in your visible world. Thursday isn't just significant because God said so. It's significant because of what He's been preparing behind the scenes while you've been waiting, wondering, and sometimes losing hope. Every unanswered prayer you've whispered at 3 a.m. has been accumulating in heaven's prayer bowl. Every tear you've cried in secret has been collected in God's bottle. Every moment you've felt forgotten has actually been a moment when heaven was taking detailed notes about what you need most. And Thursday? Thursday is payday. But here's where the enemy has been working overtime to deceive you. He's been whispering that staying home means giving up, that stillness equals stagnation, that waiting on God is just another way of saying you're too scared to take action. Those whispers are lies designed to pull you out of position right before your miracle arrives. Remember Naaman the leper in 2 Kings 5. He traveled 150 miles to find the prophet Elisha, expecting dramatic prayer, spectacular ceremony, and public healing. Instead, Elisha didn't even come to the door. He sent a servant with simple instructions. Go wash in the Jordan River 7 times. Naaman was furious. This wasn't the miracle he envisioned. This wasn't the method he expected. He almost walked away from his healing because it came wrapped in simplicity rather than spectacle. But when he finally obeyed the simple instruction, his flesh became like that of a little child. Your Thursday instruction is just as simple and just as powerful. Stay home, be still, wait on the Lord, and watch Him transform your ordinary space into an extraordinary place of divine visitation. But I must warn you, the enemy knows what's coming. He's going to send every distraction, every emergency, every urgent request to pull you away from your appointed place of blessing. People will need you. Situations will seem to demand your immediate attention. Your flesh will tell you that sitting still is wasting precious time. Don't fall for it. Because on the other side of your obedience lies a breakthrough so magnificent, so precisely crafted for your specific situation, that years from now you'll look back on this Thursday as the day everything changed. The day God showed up, not with thunder and lightning, but with whispers and wonders that rewrote your entire story. So the question that will determine your destiny is this: will you trust God's method even when it doesn't match your expectations? Will you choose stillness when everything in you wants to run towards solutions? Your answer will echo through eternity, because what God is about to do on Thursday will require a vessel that's learned to be still. Dear chosen one, do you know why your restlessness has been so intense lately? Why every fiber of your being wants to move, to do something, to fix what's broken in your life? It's because the enemy knows something you're just beginning to understand. God's greatest miracles have always been preceded by supernatural stillness. For 70, 80, maybe 90 years, you've been taught that action equals progress. That sitting still means giving up. That if you're not moving, you're not living. But what if everything you've been taught about breakthrough is backwards? What if the very stillness you fear is actually the gateway to the miracle you've been praying for? Let me take you back to a mountainside in the wilderness, where an old shepherd named Moses was just trying to get through another ordinary day. He was 80 years old, your age, perhaps older. His dreams of delivering his people had died 40 years earlier in the Egyptian desert. He'd accepted that his life would end in obscurity, tending sheep that belonged to someone else. Sound familiar? How many of you have felt like Moses in that moment, forgotten, finished, relegated to the sidelines while life passes you by? But then Moses saw it, a bush burning but not consumed. Scripture tells us in Exodus 3:3 that Moses said, "I will turn aside to see this great sight." He stopped, he turned, he stood still, and in that moment of divine stillness, everything changed. The same voice that spoke creation into existence called his name from that burning bush. Moses, Moses. Here's what most preachers won't tell you about that moment. Moses didn't chase the miracle. The miracle called to him while he was standing still. The greatest assignment in human history, the deliverance of an entire nation, came not when Moses was running toward his destiny, but when he was standing in supernatural stillness, ready to receive heaven's download. How many of you have been running toward answers when God has been waiting for you to stand still and let the answers come to you? But Moses isn't the only one. Picture Elijah on Mount Carmel, facing 450 prophets of Baal. The stakes couldn't be higher. Israel's entire future hung in the balance. The pressure to perform, to make something happen, must have been crushing. Any normal person would have been pacing, planning, scheming. But what did Elijah do? 1 Kings 18:42 tells us he cast himself down upon the earth and put his face between his knees. Complete stillness, total surrender. While his enemies danced and shouted and cut themselves, desperately trying to force their God to respond, Elijah simply waited. He positioned himself in divine stillness and trusted God's timing. And when heaven finally moved, the fire didn't just fall, it consumed everything. The sacrifice, the stones, the water, even the dust. One moment of divine stillness unleashed such power that an entire nation fell on their faces and cried, "The Lord, He is God." Your Thursday isn't about you sitting idle while life passes you by. It's about you positioning yourself for fire to fall from heaven. But perhaps the most powerful example happened at the edge of an impossible sea. 2 million Israelites stood trapped between Pharaoh's army and the Red Sea. Behind them, certain death. Ahead of them, an impossible barrier. Logic screamed, "Move! Run! Do something!" But Moses, now seasoned in the ways of divine stillness, lifted his staff and declared in Exodus 14:13, "Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord." Stand still. While horses thundered behind them, while chariots closed in, while death approached at breakneck speed. Stand still. Because sometimes the greatest act of faith isn't movement, it's the supernatural ability to remain perfectly still while God moves heaven and earth on your behalf. God often hides His thunder in silence. The miracle begins in the quiet, not in the noise. Think about this, beloved. In a world that never stops screaming, where every voice demands your attention, where even your own thoughts won't let you rest, God is calling you to stillness. Not because He's absent, but because He's preparing visitation. The silence you've been interpreting as abandonment is actually God clearing the spiritual atmosphere for something so powerful that it requires complete quiet to receive it. You see, divine stillness isn't passive waiting. It's active positioning. It's not emptiness, it's expectancy. When God calls you to be still, He's not putting you on the shelf. He's placing you on the altar. And altars are where sacrifices become miracles, where ordinary becomes extraordinary, where human impossibility meets divine possibility. How many years have you spent believing that your stillness meant God had forgotten you? How many seasons have you endured thinking that the quiet in your life meant heaven had gone silent? But what if every moment of enforced stillness was actually God preparing you for this Thursday, this divine appointment where your waiting transforms into witnessing? You've survived every storm that should have destroyed you. You've endured every disappointment that should have broken you. You've weathered every loss that should have finished you. Why? Because God has been training you in the sacred art of supernatural stillness, teaching you to trust His voice above the noise, preparing you to receive what can only be downloaded in the quiet place. Right now, I want you to pause. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Feel the weight of decades settling into this sacred moment. You are not forgotten. You are not finished. You are not too late. You are perfectly positioned for God's thunder to break through your silence. If you can feel your spirit stirring, if something ancient and eternal is awakening in your chest, comment, "I'm ready" below. Because, beloved, Thursday is coming, and the stillness you've been avoiding may be the very thing that activates your greatest breakthrough. But there's something else you need to understand about Thursday that will shock you to your core. Something about divine timing that could change everything you thought you knew about God's schedule for your life. Listen to me, dear one. What I'm about to reveal has been hidden in the corridors of eternity until this very moment. Thursday isn't just approaching, it's stalking you with divine intention. And the clues heaven has been dropping? You've been missing them because you've been looking with natural eyes instead of spiritual vision. Have you noticed how restless you've been lately? How sleep eludes you right around 2 a.m.? How your spirit jolts awake at exactly 4 the morning with no explanation? What about that strange pull you feel at 6 p.m.? Or that unexplained peace that washes over you at 8 p.m. when you're just sitting quietly? Those aren't random moments, chosen one. Those are prophetic portals opening over your life. Mark your clocks right now, Thursday at 2 p.m., 4 p.m., 6 p.m., and 8 p.m. These are not just hours ticking by on your kitchen clock. They are divine appointments scheduled in heaven's calendar before you were born. Write these times down. Set alarms. Because what God is about to release during these specific windows will only happen if you're positioned, prepared, and present. But here's what's chilling my spirit as I speak to you right now. I keep hearing the parable Jesus told in Matthew 25 about the 10 virgins, remember? 10 women waiting for the bridegroom. 5 were ready with oil in their lamps. 5 thought they had time to prepare later. When the bridegroom finally arrived at midnight, only 5 were ready to enter the wedding feast. The other 5, they missed their moment because they weren't prepared when heaven moved. The oil in their lamps wasn't just fuel, it was faithfulness, it was obedience, it was staying in position when everything around them said nothing was happening. Chosen one, Thursday is your midnight hour, and I'm terrified, absolutely terrified, that some of you listening to my voice right now are about to become the 5 who missed their moment. Not because God doesn't love you, but because you'll step outside when heaven steps in. You see, there's something the enemy knows that he's desperately trying to hide from you. Every time you leave your house during a divine visitation season, you create spiritual interference. It's like trying to tune into a radio station while driving through a tunnel. The signal gets scrambled, the frequency gets disrupted, and what was meant to download into your spirit gets lost in the static of movement, distraction, and disobedience. Your living room isn't just furniture and carpet on Thursday, it's holy ground. Your kitchen table isn't just wood and chairs, it's an altar where heaven wants to meet with you. Your bedroom isn't just where you sleep. It's the upper room where God wants to pour out His Spirit in ways you've never experienced. But the moment you step outside, the moment you prioritize grocery shopping over God's timing, errands over eternity, social obligations over sacred appointments, you risk stepping away from heaven's visitation. And here's what breaks my heart. Some of you are already making excuses in your mind right now. But I have a doctor's appointment, but my family needs me, but I can't just cancel my plans. Let me ask you something that might shock you awake. How many years have you been praying for breakthrough? How many decades have you been crying out for God to move in your situation? How many sleepless nights have you spent begging heaven for just one sign, one touch, one word from the Almighty? And now, when God Himself schedules a divine appointment and tells you exactly when and where to be, you're going to choose human obligations over heavenly visitation. This is why the 5 virgins missed their moment. They thought they could manage both their preparedness and their procrastination. They believed they could balance spiritual readiness with worldly business. But when the bridegroom came, there was no time for excuses, no space for negotiations, no opportunity for last-minute adjustments. The door was shut, and it stayed shut. I need you to understand something that's going to shake you to your core. These prophetic hours I mentioned, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 8 p.m., they're not suggestions from heaven. They're commands from the throne room of God. During these windows, the spiritual atmosphere around your home will be so thick with divine presence that angels will have to steady themselves. The veil between heaven and earth will be so thin that you'll feel eternity breathing in your living room. But only if you're there, only if you're still, only if you're ready. Because here's the truth that's burning in my spirit right now. Thursday's visitation isn't just about blessing you, it's about positioning you for what's coming next in this nation, in this world, in these final hours we're living in. God isn't just trying to answer your personal prayers. He's trying to anoint you for assignment. He's trying to equip you for the harvest. He's trying to prepare you to be His voice, His hands, His feet, in a generation that's forgotten how to hear from heaven. But you can't carry that kind of anointing if you miss the impartation. You can't walk in that level of authority if you absent yourself from the activation. In the comments below, I need you to write which of these 4 hours you'll be awake and ready. Don't just read this and scroll past. Your declaration creates alignment. Your commitment activates covering. Your obedience opens heaven. Will it be 2 p.m. when the afternoon shadows begin to prophesy of evening? Will it be 4 p.m. when heaven starts tuning the atmosphere for breakthrough? Will it be 6 p.m. when the sun begins its descent and God begins His ascent in your situation? Or will it be 8 p.m. when darkness falls but His light rises? Choose your hour, set your alarm, and prepare your heart. Because what happens during these prophetic portals will determine whether you spend the rest of your life saying, "I was there when God moved," or "I missed it when heaven came calling." Thursday is coming, beloved. The question that will echo through eternity is this: when heaven opens its door, will you be standing at yours ready to receive, or will you be somewhere else wondering what you missed? You know what breaks my heart tonight? It's the 7-8-year-old grandmother sitting alone in Queens, wondering if anyone remembers she exists. It's the 82-year-old widower in Brooklyn who worked 47 years at the same factory, only to watch his pension disappear and his children scatter across 3 time zones. It's you, dear one. If you've ever whispered into the darkness, "God, did you forget about me?" Listen to me carefully. I see you there, carrying weight that wasn't meant for shoulders that have already carried so much. You've given your best years to raising children who now live their own lives. You've poured your strength into jobs that replaced you with younger faces. You've loved spouses who now rest in graves that you visit alone, talking to headstones that can't talk back. And somewhere in the silence of your empty house, in the echo of rooms that once held laughter, you've wondered if your story is over, if your purpose died with your youth, if God is finished with you now, that the world considers you expired. But what if I told you that every single tear you've cried in secret has been collected in heaven's bottle? Psalm 56:8 declares, "You number my wanderings, put my tears into your bottle." Not some of your tears, all of them. Every midnight sob when the loneliness felt unbearable. Every frustrated cry when your body betrayed you. Every desperate prayer when the bills exceeded the check. God has been keeping receipts. Your tears are currency in heaven's courtroom, and Thursday is when redemption gets released. You've been forgotten by a world that worships youth, but you've never been forgotten by the one who counts your days as precious. While society sees wrinkles and slowness, God sees wisdom and endurance. While others see your limitations, heaven sees your qualifications. I'm talking to the woman who raised 5 children and now eats dinner alone every night. I'm speaking to the man who built houses for 40 years and now can't afford to heat his own. I'm calling out to every senior who has felt invisible, irrelevant, cast aside like yesterday's newspaper. You think your season is over. You think your prayers don't matter anymore. You think God has moved on to younger, stronger vessels. That's the biggest lie the enemy has ever told you. Why do you think the attacks on your health intensified? Why do you think your finances got tighter just when you needed security most? Why do you think relationships you counted on suddenly grew cold? Because the enemy knows something about Thursday that he's desperate to keep you from discovering. He knows that when God's forgotten ones finally understand their true value, when heaven's discarded treasures finally see their worth, kingdoms shift. And he's terrified of what happens when you step into the authority your age has earned you. Moses was 80 when God called him to split seas. Sarah was 90 when she birthed nations. You think your age disqualifies you? Your age qualifies you. But here's what cuts deepest, and I need you to feel this in your bones. How many nights have you laid there wondering if anyone would miss you if you were gone? How many mornings have you awakened to silence so thick it felt like a blanket trying to smother your spirit? How many times have you caught yourself staring at old photographs, remembering when you mattered to someone? Those aren't just random thoughts, beloved. That's spiritual warfare designed to make you forget that you're not a burden, you're a blessing. You're not expired, you're experienced. You're not forgotten, you're being prepared for Thursday's miracle. Every battle you've survived was training. Every tear you've shed was investment. Every prayer you thought went unanswered was being stored in heaven's vault, accumulating interest, building toward this moment when God says, "Enough. It's time to pour out what I've been saving." Your loneliness wasn't punishment, it was preparation for a divine visitation that requires your full attention. Your struggles weren't evidence of God's absence, they were proof of your calling, because the enemy only attacks what threatens his kingdom. And you, sitting there feeling forgotten, carry something that threatens hell itself, the authority of tested faith, the power of proven faithfulness, the weight of wisdom that only comes from walking with God through fire and coming out refined. Right now, I want you to comment below one word that describes your biggest hidden pain. Don't think about it, just type the first word that hits your heart. Loneliness, worthlessness, forgotten, abandoned, whatever it is, release it. Because I'm going to lift every single one of those pains in prayer. And Thursday is when heaven answers with power that will leave you breathless. But first, you need to understand why staying inside on Thursday isn't just a suggestion, it's a divine strategy to position you for the breakthrough that will prove your tears weren't wasted. Listen to me, chosen one. While you've been wrestling with doubt about staying home Thursday, heaven has been mobilizing. Right now, this very second, angels are receiving their assignments, not metaphorically, not symbolically, literally. Hebrews 1:14 declares, "Are not all angels ministering spirits sent to serve those who will inherit salvation?" You are about to inherit your breakthrough, and ministering spirits have been dispatched to your address. But here's what's breaking my heart tonight. Some of you are still thinking like the world thinks. You're calculating the cost of staying home instead of recognizing the cost of leaving. You're worried about missing appointments when heaven has scheduled the appointment. You're concerned about what people will think when angels are already thinking about you. Do you understand what's happening in the unseen realm right now? Your name has been called in the courts of heaven. Your case has been reviewed. Your prayers have been approved. And Thursday has been designated as your delivery day. Your home isn't just your house anymore. It's become the delivery room of heaven. Think about when a woman goes into labor. Does she leave the hospital to run errands? Does she worry about missing work when she's about to birth a miracle? No. She positions herself. She prepares. She stays exactly where life is about to emerge. That's your Thursday, beloved. Your miracle is in labor, and heaven needs you to stop moving so the birth can happen. But the enemy knows this. Satan has been working overtime to create distractions for your Thursday. Sudden emergencies, unexpected invitations, last-minute obligations. Why? Because he recognizes what's coming through your door, and he's terrified. You want to know what angels see when they look at your Thursday? They see answered prayers with your address written on them. They see breakthroughs that have been processed in heaven's post office, stamped with divine approval, and loaded onto spiritual delivery trucks heading straight to your living room. Thursday is heaven's divine mail slot of answered prayers. But mail can't be delivered to a moving target. How many of you have been waiting 30, 40, 50 years for certain prayers to be answered? How many of you buried loved ones still believing God would move in your situation? How many of you went to sleep last night wondering if God even remembers your name? He remembers, heaven remembers, and Thursday, the mail arrives. But I need you to understand something that will shock your religious mind. The angels assigned to your case aren't coming to visit, they're coming to operate. They're not bringing suggestions, they're bringing solutions. They're not delivering possibilities, they're delivering certainties. These aren't the Christmas card angels with harps and halos. These are warrior angels with assignments and authority. Michael's army, Gabriel's messengers, Raphael's healers. And they're all converging on your Thursday like a heavenly SWAT team deployed for your deliverance. But here's the part that will change everything you think you know about prayer. God isn't just answering your recent requests. He's fulfilling prayers you forgot you prayed. That desperate cry in 1987 when you thought you'd lose everything. That whispered plea in 2003 when the doctor delivered bad news. That broken-hearted petition in 2015 when your marriage was hanging by a thread. Heaven has been processing compound interest on your tears for decades. And Thursday, the account pays out. Your grandmother's prayers for your family. Your mother's intercession for your children. Your own midnight petitions for breakthrough. They've all been accumulating in heaven's treasury, earning divine dividends, waiting for the appointed time of release. That appointed time is Thursday. Your appointed place is home. But let me tell you what happens when angels arrive and find an empty house. The blessing gets redirected, the breakthrough gets delayed, the miracle gets rescheduled, and some rescheduled miracles never find their way back to your door. This isn't about superstition, beloved. This is about spiritual precision. When God sets an appointment, heaven operates with military accuracy. The timing is exact. The location is specific. The recipient must be present. You think I'm being dramatic? Read Daniel chapter 10. The angel told Daniel his prayer was heard from the first day, but it took 21 days to break through enemy territory and deliver the answer. 21 days of warfare in the unseen realm just to get one prayer answered for one man who stayed in position and waited. How long have you been waiting for your answer? How many spiritual battles have been fought on your behalf while you slept? How many times have angels been dispatched only to find you distracted, displaced, or discouraged? Thursday is different. Thursday, heaven won't be denied. I'm going to tell you something that will sound impossible until you experience it. When ministering spirits fill your home Thursday, the atmosphere will change, the air will feel thicker, peace will be tangible. Some of you will feel heat, others will feel wind with no windows open. Some will smell roses or cedar or frankincense with no source. Your living room will become a throne room. Your kitchen table will become an altar. Your bedroom will become a sanctuary. Because when heaven visits earth, geography becomes sacred. But preparation is everything. You can't receive an angelic visitation with a cluttered heart and a chaotic home. You can't host heaven while harboring unforgiveness. You can't entertain angels while entertaining doubt. Thursday is not about restriction, it's about redirection. God is coming to your address. Right now, I need you to do something that will activate the spiritual atmosphere over your home. Go to your kitchen, get some olive oil, anoint your doorposts like the Israelites did during Passover. Play worship music softly in every room. Clear your surfaces, clean your heart. Prepare your home like you're expecting the most important visitor of your lifetime. Because you are. Then come back here and comment, "My home is ready." Let heaven know you're positioned. Let the angels know you're prepared. Let God know you're not going anywhere until glory arrives. But here's the question that will determine whether Thursday transforms your life or just becomes another day you stayed home. Are you ready to surrender control and let heaven take over your schedule, your space, and your situation? Listen to me, beloved. While you've been wondering if God still remembers your address, He's been preparing 2 miracles with your name written on them. Not one blessing, but 2. A double portion that will shake the foundations of every limitation you've accepted about your golden years. You see, the enemy has been whispering lies to you for decades. He's convinced you that your financial breakthrough expired with your youth, that your spiritual influence diminished when you retired, that God's biggest moves are reserved for the young and strong. But I'm here to shatter that deception with the truth of Scripture. Psalm 92:14 declares something that should set your soul on fire. They shall still bring forth fruit in old age. They shall be fat and flourishing. Fat and flourishing. Not surviving, thriving. Not managing, multiplying. Not enduring, overflowing. But here's what breaks my heart. How many of you have been living beneath this promise? How many of you have accepted crumbs when God prepared a feast? How many of you have been counting pennies when heaven's been calculating your abundance? Thursday is your divine reset button, the day God flips the script on everything the world has told you about aging, about finances, about your spiritual authority. Because what's about to happen in your life will silence every voice that ever whispered your time has passed. Let me paint you a picture that will revolutionize how you see Thursday. Heaven operates on divine windows, specific moments when the spiritual realm opens like a floodgate and pours out blessings that have been building pressure for years. Thursday isn't just another day. It's your miracle window cracking open. The first blessing coming through that window is financial. Doors that no man can shut are about to swing open in your life. Isaiah 22:22 promises, "And the key of the house of David will I lay upon his shoulder, so he shall open, and none shall shut, and he shall shut, and none shall open." That key is being placed in your spiritual hands this Thursday. But this isn't just about money flowing in, though money will flow. This is about supernatural opportunities that find you instead of you chasing them. This is about investments you never made paying dividends. This is about debts canceling themselves. This is about social security becoming insufficient because God's security is overflowing. The second blessing is even more powerful, your spiritual promotion. You think you're retiring from kingdom work. God says you're being promoted to senior general in His army. Your rank in the Spirit is rising, and with that elevation comes authority you've never carried before. You are like a soldier being promoted after decades of faithful service. A new uniform of divine favor. New authority that makes demons tremble when you pray. New honor that opens doors in both realms. The stripes you've earned through suffering are about to become the stars of supernatural influence. But here's the catch that most people miss. These miracle windows don't stay open forever. They operate on heaven's timetable, not human convenience. Kairos moments, divine appointments that require your presence, your faith, and your obedience. Remember Naaman the leper. He almost missed his healing because he wanted the miracle on his terms, his way, his timeline. But when he finally obeyed the simple instruction to dip 7 times in the Jordan, his flesh became like that of a little child. Your Thursday obedience is the access code to your Friday breakthrough. Think about this deeply. Why would God specifically tell you to stay home on Thursday? Because he's orchestrating something so precise, so perfectly timed, that one step out of divine alignment could cost you what you've been praying for your entire adult life. This is spiritual mathematics. Heaven plus your obedience equals manifestation. Divine timing plus your positioning equals breakthrough. God's promise plus your faith equals the impossible becoming inevitable. But I need to be brutally honest with you about something that might sting. How many divine appointments have you missed because you were too busy, too distracted, too focused on what you could see instead of what God was preparing in the unseen realm? How many times has heaven tried to bless you, but you were running errands when angels knocked on your door? How many breakthrough moments slipped through your fingers because you valued your schedule more than God's strategy? Thursday is different. Thursday is your second chance at first-time obedience. Thursday is God giving you a front-row seat to his power instead of a back-row view of his faithfulness. Here's what's going to happen when these two blessings collide in your life. Your financial breakthrough won't just pay your bills, it will position you to be a blessing pipeline to others. Your spiritual promotion won't just elevate you, it will create a platform for you to pull others up with you. You'll wake up Friday morning, not as someone who survived another week, but as someone who stepped into a new dimension of God's favor. Not as someone managing decline, but as someone experiencing divine acceleration. The very family members who've been worried about your future will stand amazed at your transformation. The very friends who've been offering sympathy will start asking for your secret. The very world that tried to convince you to settle will witness what happens when God decides to elevate one of his faithful servants. Your Thursday obedience is the access code to your Friday breakthrough. Your willingness to stay still is the key that unlocks doors that have been sealed for generations in your family line. If you're ready to claim both blessings, if you're ready to step into the double portion God has been holding in escrow for your appointed time, then comment, "I receive double right now." Don't just read it. Declare it. Activate it. But remember, beloved, miracle windows close. Divine appointments can be missed. And Thursday is coming whether you're positioned for breakthrough or standing outside wondering what happened. The question that will determine your Friday isn't whether God is able, it's whether you're available. Are you ready to discover exactly what heaven has been orchestrating while you've been waiting? Did you feel that? That shift in your spirit after the prayer? That trembling in your hands, that sudden stillness in your chest, that unexplained peace washing over you like warm oil? That wasn't emotion, chosen one. That was confirmation. Heaven just responded to your faith. Right now, in this very moment, something has changed in the spiritual atmosphere around your life. You can't see it with your natural eyes, but your spirit knows. The same way you can feel when a storm is coming before the first drop of rain falls, you can sense that Thursday is no ordinary day. You can feel the weight of divine appointment settling over your soul like a holy blanket. Just as an earthquake leaves an aftershock that continues to shake the ground long after the initial impact, your Thursday blessing will echo through the rest of your week, your month, your year. What God is about to release on Thursday isn't just a one-day miracle. It's a generational shift that will ripple through your bloodline for decades to come. But here's what's happening right now that most people miss. When God moves this powerfully, when he speaks this directly, there's always a test of obedience that follows. Always. Think about Abraham when God told him to sacrifice Isaac. Think about Noah when God told him to build an ark before there were clouds in the sky. Think about Moses when God told him to strike the rock. The command came first. The miracle followed obedience. Your Thursday command is simple. Stay inside. Don't leave your house. But the enemy is already whispering lies to make you doubt. This is foolish. What if there's an emergency? What if someone needs you? What if you miss something important? But what if the most important thing that's ever happened to you requires you to be exactly where God told you to be? Here's what breaks my heart about God's people. We'll drive 3 hours to hear a prophet speak, but we won't stay home for 3 hours when God Himself gives us a direct instruction. We'll fast for 40 days for a breakthrough, but we won't fast from leaving our house for 1 day when heaven schedules a divine appointment. The Israelites wandered in the wilderness for 40 years because they couldn't obey simple instructions. 40 years! An entire generation died in the desert because they wouldn't trust God's timing and God's methods. Moses struck the rock instead of speaking to it like God commanded, and it cost him the promised land. One act of disobedience. One moment of doing things his way instead of God's way. What will your disobedience cost you on Thursday? But that's not all. God revealed there's more waiting after Thursday, and it's directly tied to your obedience. You see, Thursday isn't the end of this divine sequence. It's the beginning. What happens on Thursday determines what you're qualified to receive in the days that follow. Your faithfulness on Thursday activates a domino effect of blessings that will cascade through your life in ways you can't even imagine right now. I'm talking about financial breakthroughs that arrive by Friday, relationships that get restored over the weekend, health reports that completely reverse by Monday, job opportunities that call you out of nowhere by Tuesday. Thursday's obedience unlocks a supernatural acceleration of God's favor that will leave your head spinning and your heart overflowing. But here's the mystery that God whispered to my spirit at 4:17 this morning. He showed me something about the chosen ones who stay inside on Thursday. He showed me a marking, a spiritual seal that gets placed on those who obey without questioning, who trust without seeing, who believe without understanding. This marking isn't visible to human eyes, but it's visible to angels. It's visible to demons. It's visible to the forces of heaven and hell. And once you carry this marking, your life shifts into a completely different dimension of supernatural living. Doors open that were never meant to open for ordinary people. Favor flows that was never meant to flow to common believers. Miracles manifest that were never meant to manifest for casual Christians. You're not casual anymore, are you? You're not ordinary anymore. The moment you felt that stirring in your spirit during the prayer, you stepped across an invisible line that separates the chosen from the comfortable. But the question that will determine your entire destiny is this: will you protect what God just activated in you, or will you let the world steal it away before Thursday even arrives? Because what I'm about to reveal next will show you exactly why hell is terrified of your obedience, and exactly what forces are being mobilized to stop you from staying inside on Thursday. Listen to me, chosen one. There's a rhythm in heaven that your soul recognizes, even when your mind doesn't understand. It's the same rhythm that called Samuel 3 times in the night. The same cadence that made Elijah hear God's voice, not in the earthquake, not in the fire, but in the still, small voice that whispered and whispered and whispered again. Don't move, don't step out, don't miss it. Your body wants to fidget, your mind wants to plan. Your flesh wants to control Thursday by leaving your house, making your own moves, forcing your own solutions. But I'm telling you right now, every step you take outside your door on Thursday is a step away from your appointed miracle. Don't move, don't step out, don't miss it. Do you feel that? That stirring in your chest? That's your spirit recognizing the frequency of faith. It's the same frequency that parted the Red Sea when Moses stretched out his hand. The same frequency that brought down the walls of Jericho when the people marched in rhythm. 7 times around. 7 times in silence. Until the moment came to shout. Stand still. Wait. Watch. Receive. Beloved, you've been running for 70, 80, maybe 90 years. Running to appointments. Running from problems. Running after blessings. Running away from pain. But Thursday, God is calling you to stop running and start receiving. Your miracle has been chasing you, not the other way around. Stand still. Wait. Watch. Receive. It's like waves on the shore. Each repetition carries you deeper until you realize you are standing in holy waters. The first wave of my voice saying, "Don't move," washed over your doubt. The second wave saying, "Wait," is drowning your anxiety. And by the third wave, your faith is floating in waters so deep that only heaven can hold you up. Don't move. Don't step out. Don't miss it. But here's what breaks my heart. I know some of you are fighting this word right now. Your logical mind is screaming, "This doesn't make sense. I have responsibilities. I have places to be." And that's exactly why the enemy is working overtime to get you out of your house on Thursday. Because he knows what I know. He knows what heaven knows. Your greatest breakthrough requires your greatest surrender. Stand still. Wait. Watch. Receive. Think about Mary at the tomb. She could have walked away when she didn't find Jesus' body. She could have given up when the disciples went home. But she stood still. She waited. She watched. And because she refused to move, she became the first person to see the risen Christ. Your Thursday moment is that sacred. Your obedience is that crucial. Don't move. Don't step out. Don't miss it. Right now, I need you to understand something that will shake you to your core. Every time I speak these words, every time you hear this rhythm, angels are receiving marching orders. Don't move, and the angel of protection takes his position at your door. Don't step out, and the angel of breakthrough begins removing obstacles from your path. Don't miss it, and the angel of divine timing synchronizes heaven's clock with your Thursday appointment. Stand still. Wait. Watch. Receive. You know what Moses said to the Israelites when they were trapped between Pharaoh's army and the Red Sea? "Fear not, stand still, and see the salvation of the Lord." Exodus 14:13. They wanted to run. They wanted to fight. They wanted to go back to Egypt. But Moses said, "Stand still." And in their stillness, God moved mightily. Don't move. Don't step out. Don't miss it. I can see you there, chosen one. Sitting in your chair, feeling the weight of these words settling into your bones like ancient truth. Your spirit is saying yes, but your flesh is saying no. That tension you're feeling, that's the sound of heaven and earth colliding over your Thursday destiny. Stand still, wait, watch, receive. Here's what the enemy doesn't want you to know. He's terrified of your stillness. He can fight your movement, but he cannot fight your faith. He can attack your plans, but he cannot attack your position when God has planted you in holy ground. Thursday, your house becomes Mount Sinai. Your living room becomes the Holy of Holies. Your kitchen table becomes the altar where heaven meets earth. Don't move. Don't step out. Don't miss it. But let me ask you something that will cut through every excuse you're manufacturing right now. How many times have you moved when God said, "Be still"? How many times have you stepped out when heaven said, "Stay in"? How many times have you missed your miracle because you couldn't sit in the silence long enough to receive it? Stand still, wait, watch, receive. The rhythm is building now. Can you feel it? Each repetition is like a hammer on an anvil, forging something eternal in your spirit. Each echo is like a wave washing away years of impatience, decades of doubt, generations of moving too fast to receive what God was trying to give. Don't move, don't step out, don't miss it. I need you to type something in the comments right now. Type "I will wait" 3 times. Say it once for your past mistakes. Say it twice for your present surrender. Say it 3 times for your Thursday victory. Type "I will wait, I will wait, I will wait." Let your fingers become your faith. Let your words become your covenant with the Almighty. Stand still, wait, watch, receive. Because what's about to happen on Thursday requires more than your belief. It requires your obedience. And obedience looks like staying exactly where God tells you to stay, for exactly as long as He tells you to stay, no matter what your circumstances are screaming. The waves are getting stronger now, aren't they? The current of heaven is pulling you deeper into the mystery of Thursday's appointment. But the question that will determine everything is this: will you let these sacred waters carry you into your miracle, or will you fight the current, and miss the moment God has been preparing your entire life. You know what breaks my heart? It's when I hear from chosen ones who think God has forgotten their address, who believe that miracles only happen in mega churches or on mountaintops, never in their little apartment in Queens or their retirement home in Brooklyn. But let me tell you something that will shake everything you thought you knew about where God shows up. The most powerful visitations in history happened when people stayed exactly where God told them to stay. Take Daniel, chapter 6 of the book that bears his name. This wasn't a young man full of energy and options. Daniel was elderly, seasoned, carrying the weight of years. When that death decree came down, when they threw him into that lion's den, what did he do? He didn't pace. He didn't panic. He didn't try to negotiate his way out. Daniel stayed exactly where God's sovereignty had placed him. And what happened? God shut the mouths of those lions. Not because Daniel was in a temple, not because he was on a platform, but because he remained faithful in the exact spot where divine appointment met earthly trial. Listen to me carefully, dear one. Your living room can become a lion's den where God shows his power. Your bedroom can become the place where heaven touches earth. But there's more. Acts chapter 2. The disciples weren't in the temple when the Holy Spirit fell. They weren't on the streets preaching to crowds. They were locked away in an upper room, behind closed doors, staying exactly where Jesus told them to wait. 120 of them, probably feeling forgotten, probably wondering if they'd misunderstood the promise. And then, the wind, the fire, the tongues, the transformation. Pentecost didn't happen in public, it happened in private. It happened to people who knew how to stay put when God said, stay put. Now let me tell you about Martha Rodriguez from the South Bronx. 83 years old, living on Social Security, hadn't left her apartment in 3 days because of the pain in her knees. She was angry with God, if we're being honest. Angry that her children never called. Angry that her pension wasn't enough. Angry that she felt invisible to the world. But on a Tuesday morning, just an ordinary Tuesday, Martha was sitting in her worn-out recliner, the same chair where she'd cried herself to sleep so many nights. She wasn't even praying. She was just waiting. Waiting for something, anything, to change. That's when her doorbell rang. The landlord, standing there with an envelope, a check for $14,000. A billing error, he said, that had been discovered during an audit. Money that had been hers all along. Money the system had swallowed up for 7 years. Martha told me later, I knew it wasn't the landlord at my door. It was the Lord at my door. He knew exactly where to find me. You see, God doesn't need you to go searching for miracles. He needs you to be exactly where he can deliver them. And then there's Frank DeLuca, a 78-year-old Marine veteran from Staten Island, 3 tours in Vietnam, carrying wounds in his body and scars in his soul that the VA said would never heal. Frank had given up hope of sleeping through the night without the nightmares, without the cold sweats that reminded him of jungles half a world away. On a Thursday evening, yes, Thursday, Frank was in his basement, surrounded by old photographs and memories he couldn't escape. He wasn't praying for healing anymore. He'd stopped believing it was possible. He was just remembering, just sitting with the pain that had been his constant companion for 50 years. But as Frank sat there in that basement, something shifted in the atmosphere. A peace he couldn't explain began to fill that small space. No voices, no visions, just the unmistakable presence of the Prince of Peace himself. Frank fell asleep in his chair that night and slept for 8 straight hours. No nightmares, no cold sweats, no fear. He's been sleeping peacefully ever since. Why am I telling you these stories? Because the same God who visited Daniel in the lion's den, the same Spirit who fell in that upper room, the same Lord who found Martha in her recliner and Frank in his basement. He's preparing to visit you this Thursday. But here's what you need to understand, and this might sting a little. God's visitations require your cooperation. Martha was home when her miracle knocked on the door. Frank was still when peace filled his basement. Daniel stayed faithful when the lions circled. They weren't out chasing breakthroughs. They weren't running from appointment to appointment, meeting to meeting, hoping to stumble into God's presence somewhere out there. They were exactly where divine appointment could find them. How many miracles have we missed because we were in the wrong place at the right time? How many divine appointments have we forfeited because we couldn't sit still long enough for heaven to locate us? This isn't about being lazy or passive. This is about understanding that sometimes the most radical act of faith is staying exactly where God tells you to stay, especially when nothing appears to be happening. Your Thursday visitation is already in motion. Angels are receiving their assignments. Provision is being rerouted toward your address. Healing is being packaged with your name on it. But all of this requires your obedience to stay exactly where the Almighty has positioned you. I need you to do something right now. In the comments below, share your testimony. Tell us about a time when God showed up in your home, in your quiet place, in your season of waiting. Your story might be exactly what another chosen one needs to hear to build their faith for Thursday. Because here's what I know for certain. The God who never sleeps, who never forgets, who never abandons his promises. He's about to show up at your address. The question isn't whether he'll come. The question is, will you be home to receive him? Listen to me, chosen one. What I'm about to tell you might shake you to your core, but your spirit needs to hear this truth. Disobedience to God's instructions doesn't just delay your blessing, it can cost you everything. You think stepping outside on Thursday is harmless? You think running errands, grabbing coffee, or visiting friends is just normal life. But what if I told you that the very moment you cross that threshold, you're walking away from the greatest divine appointment of your lifetime? If Noah had stepped outside the ark early, he would have drowned. If the Israelites had left their homes on Passover night, the angel of death would have found them. And if you leave your house on Thursday, you risk missing the miracle that has your name written on it in heaven's ledger. Think about this for a moment. How many times in your 70, 80, 90 years have you felt like you were close to breakthrough, only to have it slip through your fingers? How many times did you wonder if you missed your moment because you were in the wrong place at the wrong time? Thursday is your Red Sea moment. But here's the terrifying truth. If you're not positioned where God commanded you to be, you'll watch others walk through their breakthrough while you're left standing in the wilderness of what could have been. The enemy knows exactly what Thursday holds for you. That's why he's already planting thoughts in your mind. This is silly. You need groceries. Your friend needs you. That appointment can't wait. But beloved, those thoughts aren't yours. They're demonic suggestions designed to pull you out of position for your miracle. Remember Lot's wife? She was so close to safety, so close to deliverance. All she had to do was not look back. But one moment of disobedience, one glance over her shoulder, and she became a pillar of salt. A monument to missed mercy. You don't want to become a monument to what might have been. Stay in, stay in, stay in, because outside is noise, inside is miracle. Outside is distraction, inside is divine visitation. Outside is the enemy's territory, inside is your sanctuary, where heaven meets earth. But let me paint you a picture that will break your heart. Imagine Thursday evening comes. You spent the day running around, busy with life's demands. You come home tired, maybe a little proud of how productive you were. You settle into your chair, and suddenly you feel it, an emptiness, a knowing that something passed you by, something precious, something irreplaceable, something that had been waiting just for you. That's the weight of a missed divine appointment. That's the ache of disobedience. And precious soul, some opportunities in the spirit realm don't come around twice. Moses struck the rock instead of speaking to it, and it cost him the promised land. Saul offered the sacrifice instead of waiting for Samuel, and it cost him his kingdom. One act of disobedience can cost you decades of destiny. But here's what will chill your blood. The angel of breakthrough that God has assigned to your address on Thursday operates on precise timing. Angels don't wait around. They don't reschedule. When God gives an angel an assignment for 2 p.m. Thursday at your kitchen table and you're at the grocery store, That angel completes the assignment whether you're there or not. The blessing gets delivered to an empty house. The miracle finds no one home to receive it. Your house is no longer just walls and a roof. It's your ark in a world of flood. It's your altar where heaven touches earth. It's your sanctuary, where the Most High has scheduled a personal meeting with you. Would you dare leave your own divine appointment? Think of Abraham. God told him to leave his country, his people, his father's household. But once Abraham obeyed and arrived in the promised land, God told him exactly where to pitch his tent, exactly where to build his altar. Location mattered then, position mattered then, and beloved, it matters now. Thursday isn't just another day. It's the day your obedience either opens heaven's storehouse or leaves you wondering why the door remained locked. Stop right now and look around your home. This isn't just where you live. This is where your miracle lives. This is where your breakthrough has been waiting. This is where God has prepared a table for you in the presence of your enemies. I need you to do something right now that will consecrate this space for Thursday's visitation. Go to your front door, take oil, olive oil from your kitchen, if you have it, and anoint your door frame. As you do, declare, "This is my ark. This is my sanctuary. This is where heaven meets earth." Comment below, "My home is my ark," and let heaven witness your declaration of faith. Because, beloved, Thursday is coming, whether you're ready or not. The question that will determine your destiny is this: will you be found faithful in position when your moment arrives? You've been lonely, haven't you? Not just the kind of lonely where you miss having someone to talk to. I'm talking about that bone-deep, soul-crushing loneliness that makes you wonder if God himself has turned his back on you. You sit in that same chair every morning, drinking your coffee, watching the world wake up through your window, and the silence in your home feels heavier than concrete. You've been forgotten by your children who used to call every Sunday but now text once a month, by friends who promised to stay in touch but disappeared when life got complicated, by a world that treats people over 65 like we're invisible, like our voices don't matter anymore, like our dreams expired with our youth. And you've asked God, why not me? Why does everyone else seem to get their breakthrough while you're still waiting? Why did your neighbor get the healing while you're still fighting the same battle? Why did your sister's finances turn around while you're still counting pennies at the grocery store? Why does it feel like heaven's blessings rain down on everyone except you? Dear chosen one, I need you to look me in the eyes right now. Every tear you've cried in secret, every prayer you've whispered into empty rooms, every night you've fallen asleep wondering if God even remembers your name, none of it has been wasted. Not one tear, not one prayer, not one sleepless night. Listen to what the prophet Isaiah declared in chapter 55, verse 11. "So shall my word be that goes out from my mouth. It will not return to me empty, but will accomplish what I desire and achieve the purpose for which I sent it." Every prayer you've prayed is still working. Every promise God spoke over your life is still active. Every word from his mouth about your destiny is accomplishing exactly what he intended. But this Thursday is your turning point. Every unanswered prayer is becoming a fulfilled promise. Every delayed blessing is about to be delivered with compound interest. Every door that slammed shut was protecting you from settling for less than God's best. You see, there's a principle in God's kingdom that the world doesn't understand. The deeper the preparation, the greater the manifestation. Think about a seed buried in winter soil. For months, it looks dead. The ground is frozen. Nothing appears to be happening. But beneath the surface, invisible to the naked eye, that seed is developing root systems so strong they'll support a harvest beyond imagination. That's been your life. You thought you were dying in the darkness, but you were actually developing in the deep places. Every rejection strengthened your roots. Every disappointment deepened your dependence on God. Every season of waiting was heaven's way of preparing you for a blessing so big that if it had come earlier, it would have overwhelmed you. Romans 8:28 isn't just a pretty verse to hang on your kitchen wall. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. All things. That divorce that broke your heart 20 years ago. That business that failed. That diagnosis that scared you. That child who broke your trust. God has been weaving it all together for this moment. Here's what's about to happen on Thursday. Every seed of suffering you've planted through your tears is about to sprout simultaneously. Like a field that looks barren all winter, suddenly exploding with wildflowers in spring, your breakthrough won't trickle in slowly. It's going to burst forth all at once. The loneliness. God is preparing divine connections that will fill your life with meaningful relationships. The financial struggle. Heaven is releasing resources that will not only meet your needs, but position you to bless others. That health issue you've carried. Thursday marks the beginning of restoration that will make doctors scratch their heads in amazement. But here's the critical part. You must be positioned to receive it. Just like the widow in 2 Kings chapter 4 had to gather empty vessels before the oil could flow, you must create space in your schedule, in your heart, and in your home for God's supernatural visitation. This is why He's telling you to stay inside on Thursday. Not because He's punishing you, but because He's protecting the miracle. Every time you've wondered if you missed your season, if you're too old, if it's too late, Thursday is God's answer. Your season isn't over, it's just beginning. Right now, I want you to comment the word harvest below this video, not just as a word, but as a prophetic declaration that your season of planting tears is over and your season of reaping joy has begun. When you type harvest, you're agreeing with heaven that Thursday is your appointed time of breakthrough. Because, beloved, what's waiting for you on Thursday isn't just another day. It's the dawn of everything you've been believing for. And heaven itself is holding its breath, waiting to see if you'll be there to receive it. Beloved chosen one, as we reach the end of this divine encounter, I need you to remember 3 eternal truths that will anchor your soul in the days ahead. First, Thursday isn't just another day, it's your appointed time with destiny. God has been orchestrating this moment for decades, weaving every joy and sorrow, every triumph and trial into the perfect tapestry for your breakthrough. Don't let the enemy convince you it's coincidence. This is divine design. Second, your obedience to stay home on Thursday isn't restriction, it's positioning. When God asks you to be still, He's preparing to move mightily on your behalf. Every moment you remain where He's placed you is a moment heaven can work unhindered in your situation. Third, the loneliness, the waiting, the wondering if God has forgotten it all ends Thursday. Your prayers haven't fallen on deaf ears, your tears haven't been wasted. Your faith hasn't been in vain. Thursday is your harvest day. But hear me clearly. Dear friend, you are not walking this path alone. Even when the road feels uncertain, even when the nights feel long, even when hope seems distant, the God who spoke light into darkness is still speaking breakthrough into your circumstances. He hasn't brought you this far to abandon you now. His plans for you are good, and His timing is perfect. And beyond God's unwavering presence, you have this community, thousands of believers standing with you, praying with you, believing with you. We're not just strangers watching videos. We're family in the Spirit, connected by the same calling, carried by the same hope, covered by the same God. So let me ask you this. If God Himself has given you specific instructions for Thursday, if He's preparing a breakthrough that could change everything, will you trust Him enough to obey? Will you choose His voice over the world's opinions, His timing over your impatience, His plan over your understanding? Before I release you into your destiny, let me place my hand on your shoulder through these words and pray over your life with the authority of someone who has walked with God for 50 years. Heavenly Father, I lift up every precious soul who has stayed with us through this entire message. Lord, you see them right now, sitting in their living rooms, lying in their beds, driving in their cars, and you know every burden they carry, every fear they face, every dream they've buried under disappointment. Father, I pray that your peace, which surpasses all understanding, would guard their hearts and minds as Thursday approaches. Give them supernatural strength to resist every distraction, every doubt, every voice that tells them to step out of position. Let them feel your presence so strongly that obedience becomes effortless. God, I pray for divine protection over their homes, their health, their hearts. Send your angels to surround them, to minister to them, to prepare the atmosphere for your visitation. Let Thursday morning dawn with such glory that they wake up knowing something has shifted in the spiritual realm. For those struggling with loneliness, flood their homes with your companionship. For those battling financial lack, release supernatural provision. For those fighting sickness, breathe healing into their bodies. For those feeling forgotten, remind them that their names are engraved on your palms. Lord, let this Thursday be remembered as the day everything changed. Let it mark the beginning of their greatest chapter, their finest hour, their sweetest victory. And when the breakthrough comes, let it be so undeniable, so overwhelming, so obviously from heaven, that every witness will know you are still the God who moves mountains. In Jesus' mighty name, I seal this prayer over their lives. Amen. Now, I want you to know that this community is here for you. Share in the comments below what you're believing God for this Thursday. Ask us to pray for specific needs. Tell us your story. Your testimony might be exactly what someone else needs to hear to keep believing. And please, share this message with someone who needs hope. There's a friend, a family member, a neighbor who feels forgotten by God and needs to know that Thursday could be their turning point too. When we lift each other up, heaven responds with acceleration. If this message has touched your heart, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. This isn't just a channel, it's a community of believers who refuse to give up, who choose faith over fear, who know that our God specializes in last-minute miracles and perfect timing. Thank you for staying with me through this entire journey. Thank you for opening your heart to receive what God wanted to pour into you today. Your faithfulness to listen, to believe, to position yourself for Thursday tells me everything I need to know about your heart. You're ready for what God has prepared. Thursday is coming, beloved. Your breakthrough has your address. And heaven itself is watching to see what happens when obedience meets opportunity in the living room of a chosen one who refused to give up. Stay home, stay faithful, stay expectant. Your miracle is on the way. God bless you mightily, and I'll see you on the other side of your breakthrough.